Today is our first attempt at trying to figure out the Tao of Real Estate, what we're going to talk about as a podcast.
We're going to use Gemini to prompt us and come up with a game plan. I gave it a prompt, ask me questions one at a time to help me create a plan and structure for a new podcast. The podcast will be called Tao of Real Estate and will feature hosts TJ Nguyen and Ryan Yee. At the end, provide me with a summary outline in bullet form. And the first question is, what's the core focus or theme you want to explore in Tao of Real Estate? Real estate investment strategies, market trends, personal finance tips, philosophical insights related to real estate.
That's a great question. I think we do have that initial prompt or initial context of why we're calling it the Tao of Real Estate, right? Which is like the pathway. Everyone's got their own path. So it's really about exposing or revealing other people's journeys and deep diving into other people's journeys because everyone's path is different. What about you from your perspective?
What I was thinking is if it's the Tao of Real Estate, the Tao of the podcast, whatever the path it takes depends on the guest and what they want to talk about. So we're just going to be a little bit of interview style. And I think a lot of it will reveal itself, but we can start with our philosophy towards real estate, our different strategies. And then as we're talking to different people, we can talk about how they got into real estate or how real estate has shaped their philosophy towards business or vice versa, how their experiences in life shape their philosophies towards real estate.
Okay. You're recommending to have a little bit more free form.
I think everybody else is niching down. And if our goal is the path of real estate, the path that our podcast takes us could be all over the place.
Okay. I'm totally for that because it sounds like less work, to be honest. May not as good content.
Yeah. It'll be more
like
be wide ranging.
Yeah. It'd be somewhat ADHD, which is like perfect for me.
Perfect for us.
So we are going to try to find the format as we go through, as we speak to each guest.
I think a general format is good. Like a lot of people do the last 5 questions or the last 4 questions or last 3 questions, always the same. They start with an introduction. Some people are straight up like question, answer kind of dialogue. I think we don't need much more than that.
Yeah. I really like the Diary of the CEO. Have you seen any of his podcasts?
No, I haven't. Check it out.
Stephen Bartlett. Yeah, I really like he doesn't really have a lot of format, but the way that he does podcasts, I really think it's highly captivating and very entertaining. So shout out to DOAC, Stephen Bartlett, but I definitely think we should borrow some tidbits from him. Oh, I'll send you a couple podcasts.
I'm down. I'm not committing to a format right now.
Okay.
How do we answer Gemini right now? What is the core focus or theme? Or should we define it as we talk?
We should explain what we explained. And to be honest, full credit, I reiterated to Jem, but it's your idea, like finding the path. Everyone has their own path, right? And it's like sharing that path with us and the guests. I think it's a very true and valuable statement that everybody has their own path. I feel like I've developed this strategy that I have. And a lot of people that fit my financial profile or work environment, I would expect to take it and be like, okay, plug and play. But everyone else is different. Some of them are like, I don't want to do all that work.
I'm interested in hearing your formulas and how you landed on your acquisition strategy or which properties you're trying to take down. I'm trying to mimic what high level investors are targeting. And I'm asking them, what are your targets for performance when you make an acquisition, and just trying to mirror that so that I can either copy their success or find deals that I can bring to them that hit the benchmarks that I know they're looking for.
Yeah. I'm just honestly borrowing other people's stuff. I don't think I really created any given thing, but in terms of the way that you piece it together, that's like uniquely yours, right? So Neil Bawa's market analysis. This guy used to work at Uber, started doing multifamily, has a course on Udemy that teaches everybody how to analyze macro drivers in the real estate market. Very quantitative. So I recommend that. And then I basically combine that with the underwriting for STRs because STR is my entire strategy. And that really comes from tax savings. And for me, it's not how much you make. It's more so like how much you keep at this stage of my life. It's going to come in cycles. And so my whole strategy is basically convert my W-2 taxes, which are currently quite high, into vacation homes that those taxes become an asset or part of those taxes become an asset. My strategy is developed and I think it's going to change as I get deeper into it. It worked for me the first couple of years, but now I might be like, okay, I've written off a bunch of stuff. It's time to make more money or diversify my strategy. Everything for me is very quantitative. I need numbers to go behind everything that I'm doing. Because the first property I did was just feeling, or the first property in the States was just feeling. And in the end, it worked out. Still TBD, right? Like we're 3 years into the mortgage. So far, it was working, but we did not do any quant stuff. We just bought it.
Where is that?
San Jose, California. We bought it with an ADU to offset the mortgage.
Mhm. Are y'all able to do that? Where are the issues you're running into?
Yeah, we're doing great. We were doing a lot better. Before we were covering about 75, 80% of the mortgage with roughly less than half the house. Right now it's about 50 to 60% of the mortgage, but it's trending downwards.
Is that more supply of ADUs coming in because California changed that law and allowed everybody to build ADUs?
I think it's, I
Or is
think,
it an exodus?
I think it's supply. What I've been noticing is it's supply, like increase in supply of people, not necessarily building ADUs, but starting Airbnbs. The competitive nature, like Bay Area is extremely uncompetitive. So there's a lot of really crappy listings. I think the quality of listings is increasing. I think people have raised the bar and seen, hey, off a one bedroom, you can make $4,000 a month. Once you start to see that, you're like, okay, I have a one bedroom. I just need to increase the quality. We're getting a lot of higher quality competition. And then the whole Airbnb bust thing, we are seeing lower demand, ADRs and things are coming down. I had 100% occupancy. I still do for the most part, maybe 90% now, but I was pre-booked several months in advance and those lead times have come down significantly compared to COVID or around that era.
So after COVID, there was the rebound. You were saying you stole a few things from everybody. That reminded me of my boy Bruce, who said, absorb what is useful, discard what is not, and add what is uniquely your own. You almost said it exactly. Bruce Lee said it.
Mhm.
There was a super rebound after COVID and everybody could travel. We were experiencing exceptionally high demand. But once that subsided, all these hosts got into it. Two things happened. There's more supply side on the host side, and the education behind it gets better. The floor is raising, which raises your middle. So maybe if you're a top tier Airbnb before, now you're mid.
Mhm.
And that's where the most competition is, at the middle of the bell curve. Tim Ferriss always says, you don't want to get caught in a glove of mediocrity. There's always room at the high end. As the floor is raising, you have to raise your standards and the product you're offering to be able to command the occupancy rate or the rates you're saying. And I think that's a lot of what we learned at HostCon. A lot of the speakers mentioned how you got to elevate the experience.
Yeah, I fully agree. And that's what I've seen through my conversations with high performing hosts. Like all the ones that are still saying Airbnb is the way to go or have been performing is in the luxury or high end space. Like they're building experiences. So yeah, that's something that I want to convert a lot of my listings to, which I think to a certain extent we have is just getting it to the next level.
We're trying to optimize for time. We're not at the point where we're real estate professionals. So a lot of that's offset anyways. And two, we do have enough Airbnbs where we have the active hours. We're trying to cut back on the active hours. We swung the pendulum too far
Mhm.
and we're converting a lot to midterm stays. What midterm guests want is different than what short-term guests want. They want everything to make them comfortable, like feeling at home. In my house and probably your house, not everything is super nice. A lot of things are just livable and good enough for now. And our midterm guests appreciate that because that's what they're doing. But again, a lot of our Airbnbs that are in nicer areas, we have had to elevate our design and the colors and uniqueness, or at least have a good location or good building and good architecture built in to provide something different and to justify paying that much for a room, because if we're charging more than the hotel room and the hotel's got a gym and a pool and a bar where you can go meet people, then that might be a better value for other people. So you got to give them something in exchange.
Isn't it always the kitchen though?
And sometimes a backyard and the ability to have a dog. So you can get a pretty good ROI charging a pet fee. And in our experience, everybody who travels with pets, especially in the midterm space, and pretty much all the short term stays we've had, they're traveling with their pet. Their pets are usually much better behaved than a long term pet would be.
Yeah, I haven't had too many negative experiences with pets. It's just that one time that left pet hair, and I'm still finding it. Like I was upstairs in the. Did you go upstairs? You didn't ever check that
I
up.
never got to see John's place. He was never
Oh,
home at the same time we were at.
but yeah, there's basically dog hair everywhere still. 3 weeks after, which could be something to be said about the dog, but probably more to be said about the cleaners.
So you can charge a pet fee and you can charge additional pet cleaning. So you actually get paid twice on that dog.
Airbnb has limited options. You get the pet fee, and that's about it.
We state in our listing that we are allowed to charge more for whatever cleanings. And so you can bill them additional for their cleaning.
I see. Didn't
So
do
we,
that.
we do that all the time. Sometimes, like when we host the construction crews I was telling you about earlier, to fill out a lot of space and be able to command high dollar, but just by adding twin beds or mattresses or sleeper couches, they destroy our place. The construction crews are the messiest people. That's fine because they still pay so much more. We're also charging them quadruple the cleaning fee. Usually the manager or whoever's covering their booking is like, yeah, I understand. And they pay it,
Mm.
but they are disgusting.
Imagine putting a bunch of dudes in a room together.
We have amazing cleaners. They're really good at telling us the extent of it. We tell them, you tell us what we need to charge, and we just pass it through. I know some people make money on the cleaning too. If our cleaners are charging us $350, they'll like, oh, our cleaner said it was awful. It's $499, and they'll make an additional $150 for the headache of having to
Yeah,
communicate that
as you,
additional fact.
as you should.
You arbitrage everything.
So what happened here?
That's a great starting point. Now let's dig bit deeper into your target audience. Who is your ideal listener for the podcast?
Hmm,
What are their interests, pain points, or goals related to real estate?
that's a good question. Ideal listener. I think we want to really, it could be anyone, to be honest. I always build things and create things in the mindset or in the perspective of me, right?
Okay.
So
So
my
what
ideal listener is going to be someone like me. They may be just getting started, well, 2 to 3 years into their investing career, actually actively investing. Um, they might have a pretty good W-2 job and they're looking to get started. So I think that's a good starting point for me. But I honestly think it could be anyone, right? That's the whole point of the Tao. It's like being able to tune in to different people's perspectives.
it could be anyone who might accidentally step on real estate. For me, I agree. I'm interested in thinking about how people think about real estate, different people's standards, benchmarks, numbers, decision making processes, the path they go through in their head to decide if something's a deal or not a deal. I also want, if I were a listener, I guess I would want somebody who is looking for other people's stories to inspire them. Maybe we have a guest who's a waitress who comes on the show and she talks about how she was a waitress, but now she's in real estate and how she was able to leave that behind, or somebody with a high income W-2 and how they were able to leverage their high W-2 into transitioning or financial freedom and then be able to move away from that and do the things they love.
Mhm. The summary was basically what I was saying to a certain extent, but you also wanted to understand their thought process.
One thing that pisses me off when I listen to other real estate podcasts is when a guest goes, just run your numbers. Like, just make sure you run your numbers and you double check your numbers. And that's as specific as they get. As an engineer, I need standards, I need benchmarks. What is acceptable? What is a home run? What is a no go for sure? I want people to understand what we mean by run your numbers and give them some benchmarks to mimic and copy that they can take into their investing.
Yeah, that's so true. And I think it's both an art and a science, right? Because even like running numbers, the way that you look at, I really like my expertise is predominantly in like short term rental underwriting. With short term rental underwriting, it's not like you just take the rentalizer output from Meridian and use that as revenue, right? You have to do a lot of human judgment.
Gemini, so what kind of format or structure are you envisioning for the podcast episodes?
A stream of consciousness,
Streams.
consciousness,
I missed this
stream
first
of
note.
conscience. It's stream of conscience. Yeah.
That's a flexible approach. It's good to have the freedom to explore different formats and go with the flow. That's what we were talking about. Here's something else to consider. How long do you envision each episode being? We have shorter episodes around 30 minutes. We go for longer, in-depth discussions that might be an hour or more. Think about how long you could realistically commit to each episode and what your audience might prefer.
I think there's two different things that have to happen here. There's what the listeners will listen to versus how long do we actually interview? Because obviously you're not going to use, maybe you might, maybe you just do completely unedited, but typically you're going to cut things in and out depending on how the conversation goes. So I think 30 minutes to 45 minutes is pretty reasonable. I don't know if that's realistic for our schedules. If we're doing it like once every 2, 3 weeks, maybe it's realistic. I think it'll depend. I listen to a lot of podcasts. I don't really like to listen to podcasts that are less than an hour long.
Me neither. I much prefer longer, more in-depth
Mm.
conversations like Tim Ferriss or Joe Rogan format where they can actually, like us, we're going to tangent and then come back. I like people having depth and going down tangents. Just shows a different pathway our brains collectively went based on the conversation. Sometimes you go down a path and that's not where you wanted to go. So you turn around and start back from your main branch and then try something else.
Yeah. I
I know
mean,
that makes it much more difficult time wise and it's a bigger commitment. So we could aim for a long form, maybe twice a month or once a month, and then ha- have a shorter format in the other episodes. Maybe have a quick fire questions or thought of the day. If all you have that week is 15 minutes, maybe do two quick things or one thing each that happened to us in real estate that week. That's
are we doing segments or are we doing guests? Because I think with the guests, until we start to build up some level of credibility, we should probably keep like the interviews relatively short. Because I don't know, we know enough people that commit to probably give us an hour and just shoot the shit, talk about stuff, talk about their journey. But eventually we're probably going to have to reach out to people that we don't know directly. And we might not have that credibility at that time. I'm manifesting that we do.
I'm not worried about finding guests willing to talk that long to us because the focus is on their story and people want to tell their story and
Mm,
how they got to where they want.
that's
And it's so rare to be given the opportunity unless you're already big to share how you got to where you are. Not everybody's a celebrity. Most people are like, I used to be a teacher or I had a W-2 and I'm doing this on the side.
there's a million different people that we could ask. I
I don't
mean,
even know how Sub 2 Drew got into real estate. I know he's a doctor of physical therapy and he's in real estate. I don't know the passion that brought him to physical therapy. And I don't know at what point he made the decision to do real estate. And I would love to hear that story.
yeah. I mean, he is one of the people that brought us together.
I was talking to Jeremiah Smith today and he
Yeah.
said he knew you. And so he's going to fire you a message.
I got a message from him through G chat. I'm behind on messages, so I have to message him back. There's a lot of people we could talk to. I don't think we have any shortage of stories, but it's also a matter of how do we pull out the content that people will be interested in listening,
So
be engaged.
what are the questions we want to ask everybody? Maybe that can drive our format. For me, it's going to be what are your benchmarks? What are your standards? What are your measures of performance? What is your factor of safety that you're putting into your underwriting to know whether or not to pursue a deal? Is it based on cash flow? Is it based on how much depreciation you get? Is it based on what your entry fee is? Like Pace has drilled into everybody's head that entry fee should be your biggest factor and it shouldn't. That should be one of the factors for sure. But cash on cash should be considered, your interest rate and long-term returns. Like how fast you get your capital. What if you were paying 8% interest or 20% interest for 6 months and then you make $100,000. I want to know how people are making their decisions and the timelines they're putting behind returns.
I think these are great questions. I feel like I'm a very one dimensional investor where I look at a few things and that is what I really want to hone in on.
So many people find success doing just the thing that they're good at over and over again. A lot of people fall into the pit trap of I have different benchmarks for everything I do, and therefore I got a lot going on and everything's super complicated. For me, I want to find the right balance that fits my lifestyle and what capital I have available and the time I have available to get to my summit, to wherever I'm trying to go.
Mhm.
Because where you're at is completely different than where I'm at. So I think asking those questions will help our guests or our listeners figure out what they can look for. Cause that was the hardest thing for me is I don't know what a good deal is. People keep telling me to run the numbers, but they're not telling me what numbers are important.
Yeah, I think it's almost building like avatars to a certain extent. As an investor, you have different investor avatars. You might be a high school student and you're like, I want to start getting into real estate. That strategy, that path looks very different than a retired guy. Like we just met Matthew over the weekend, right? He's not even retired. He's a doctor. I don't know how old, but he's older. He's got multiple kids. He got a wife. He's got multiple investments. He's done a lot of stuff. His path is going to look different than me. Then I think I'm more closer to him than the high school kid. But yeah, like there is like different archetypes, different avatars that exist. So maybe we could suss that out and not put people in boxes, but we could try to figure out where everyone is. Sorry, I'm getting a call.
Good
Um,
answer. You can cut it out.
Sure. Hello, Ryan speaking. Hey, yes. So you should be able to go to booking.com reservation and there should be a button that allows you to pay for it.
On the website,
I can try to send you a link.
please?
We usually do most of our bookings on Airbnb. So it's our first time having this issue. Usually it just automatically takes payment. So not really sure what is going on here.
I don't know if it was booking or not, but I ended up downloading. I was on the internet when I found the house, and to reserve, download the app. So I guess if it was the app, I'm not too sure. But I got the message. I needed to pay. I the later on, like hours after they hit me.
Gotcha. I appreciate you reaching out. I thought that you'd be able to just access your email and pay for it and access a link there, but there's no direct link here. How about I text you once I reach out to the booking.com folks?
Okay, please.
I don't know what's going on, but booking.com is a gong show, dude.
What'd you say?
Booking.com is a gong show.
Why are you on there? I've never heard of anybody actually being on there.
There's a large European market that books through booking.com,
Interesting.
but I made a mistake I had my San Jose listing perfectly set up. I don't know what happened, but I thought things would automatically transfer over from the credit card payment setup, but it didn't. You have to reconfigure it for every listing. Now I'm getting messages like, how do I pay for it? One person didn't even pay and stayed there. I didn't even know until
Oh my God, they got a free stay.
I'm asking booking.com, hey, you didn't charge these people. What the hell? And they're like, okay, we have this specialist group that's like looking at it. It's been like a week. I don't even know if I'm going to get my money back on that.
Where was this?
This is at the Houston property.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Prior to when we stayed, there was like people that stayed there. So not ideal. Like it's not like Airbnb at all, where Airbnb, like they accept the money before you can go there.
Would it be easier to find a channel manager that incorporate booking.com and does that for you? Is there one out there?
Yeah. So I'm in the process of switching over to HostAway,
Mm-hmm.
a channel manager that was very light, like basically the calendar manager.
Mm-hmm.
So it didn't have all the bells and whistles of checking for payment, confirming that payment was made, because technically booking.com has a payment processor. It just didn't get activated because you have to explicitly activate it.
So the default should be people need a way to pay you.
Yes.
But I imagine that other guests would probably take it at the counter if they're like an actual hotel or have alternative on-site payments if it's not ad hoc.
The idea. But anyways, what did we do here?
I told it that we would like to do a mix of episode types. We would like to do long form, in-depth conversations with our guests, maybe go at least an hour up to however long the guest has available. And then shorter episodes with more concentrated subtopics or subjects, maybe like top tens or how we feel about X happening in the real estate industry, or just some smaller, shorter form podcast to mix it up. And then to spit out this other list of questions, Jim and I said, sounds like a great plan. Having a mix of long form and shorter form episodes can offer a variety of content for your listeners. Now let's think about the logistics of producing your podcast. So how often do you plan to release new episodes? Weekly, monthly, or bi-monthly? Your release schedule will help set expectations for your audience and also guide your production timeline. I think this is going to be, you're going to be the limiting factor here.
No, am I?
Of course you are. You have a real W-2, you're getting started. Your schedule's way more packed. I have transitioned full time. I'm struggling and figuring out how to make it work so I can be super flexible.
Yeah, that's true. All right. So I think there's two strategies. There's one way where you record the episodes. I would ideally like to be on a weekly or once every 2 weeks schedule.
Bi-weekly.
Bi-weekly. I don't know.
Bi-monthly.
I don't know. I avoided trying to say
It
that.
says right here, or is bi-monthly every 2 months? That seems way too long. I feel bi-monthly is twice a month.
Bi-weekly or weekly is ideal. I know that weekly is nearly impossible. There's just no way to do that.
Going to be difficult.
Unless we have a queue. So that's what I was trying to get at the start.
To build a queue them up.
Yeah. Yeah.
The other way we can do it is to commit to one bi-weekly episode and then try to do a solo short. Maybe one of us does a solo one every other week.
Mm-hmm. To make it weekly. If I drop, then
So try to commit to the one long form every 2 weeks and then queue it up one episode per person. If you can't do it, I can cover. But if you can help me with the topic or what you would like to talk about, then I can bring that up.
Are you going to do a solo episode or are you going to invite? Like you're going to do like a kind of an individual, like you're just going to talk and riff, or is it?
Yeah, I think that would set the bar low for that one. Maybe the top 10 things that help me in my business this week, or 5 tools I use, something super short we have experience with. It's not going to take us any effort to put it out. It helps us keep on schedule.
Yeah.
And then after we have a bunch of guests, these are top 3 things guests have told us have changed their business. And then that'll be a single episode. We can do summary or recap, short form episodes.
I like that.
And pull themes. These are the benchmarks multifamily investors are using.
That's good. And are we going to, so we got basically weekly or bi-weekly with a solo session every week. So for any one of us, it's going to be 3 episodes a month.
Yeah. So I could do a solo this week, and this can be our first episode. Both of us are on. Next week I could do, or sometime this week I could record a solo and that can go out next week. Sometimes in the next 2 weeks, you are trying to also record a solo that can go out in week 4. And in the meantime, we're looking for one guest to stay on long form with us. If I have something else to record, I can build that queue up. Our goal is to each do one solo a week and one by double a week. And if we can't, like every week we can, builds our ability to miss. Yeah, builds our ability to miss one. And it's a lot more sustainable that way.
For sure. Let's go through these questions.
Where will you record your podcast episodes? Will you have a dedicated studio space? So I have my basement office. I'm going to change my decorations at the back, although having Bruce Lee in my background has been the best background I've ever had. Literally everybody I talk to with money is that Bruce Lee poster. They're like, we're cool. And these people who have millions to deploy, every single one of them. And Joseph was like, I've noticed that too. And I was like, I think I'm going to go all in on Bruce Lee. I think I'm going to get a much bigger Bruce Lee behind and then some curtain lights back there.
That's sick. My dad is a huge Bruce Lee fan.
The way Bruce Lee did Kung Fu is the way I want to do real estate. The way he did everything, he had principles that applied to his whole life, and he was super authentic. And that's been one of the biggest drivers of me in my life, is trying to be the most me I can be.
I agree. He reps the Hong Kong people.
I'm going to 3D print a life-size statue of Bruce Lee. It's going to be dope. It's gonna be
Dude, how many segments you gonna need?
a lot of segments. I have 3 printers, so I'd have to optimize for size. And will you be recording remotely using a microphone or recording studio? There is Descript and some other podcasting AI where you can do long form and it'll chop out your filler words. It'll make you sound cooler. There are also other ones, and maybe some of them have them also built in where it'll chop it up into YouTube shorts and
Yeah.
reels and shareable things. So I don't know if you think that's a good investment or just paying somebody from Vietnam to chop it up like I do with my photo editing. I just outsource it overseas and if somebody's
No, we
working
should
on it
get
while I sleep.
tools, right?
Yeah.
The tools are like, I don't know. I feel like we should use the tools.
I'm down with the tools.
The tools are going to be infinitely cheaper,
Yeah.
more accurate than some overseas person in Vietnam
Yeah.
that doesn't really care. And I think
100 real estate.
I understand real estate. I think you use one tool and it probably covers all of the use cases.
One of our items is to figure out what that tool is. I know Descript is one. So basically it's Descript and Descript alternatives.
Okay. And that's essentially like chopping up the videos or transcribing.
Let's take a look. Let's do use cases: video editing, podcasting, clips, screen recording, captions, transcription, AI speech. So podcasting. All these podcasts down here use it. So you can bring different people in and then it moves them around the room like a podcast oriented Zoom.
Oh, so this Descript is basically a Zoom.
So it has Zoom in there as well. So that's a feature of it. And then when it transcribes, it chops it into chapters. And then you want to edit, say I misspeak and I can delete the transcription. It'll edit the video wherever those words are spoken.
Wow. Okay.
This can make us look so much smarter than we actually are, or at least sound smart. I feel like we're both highly intelligent. Just we don't always sound like that.
It's unavoidable. I mean,
Yeah. We're human and unpracticed. As we get better at podcasts, the AI will be doing less work.
I think sometimes we knowingly try to sound like idiots. At least I do. Or I have awareness that I will sound like an idiot and I'll say it anyways.
Sometimes I'm not aware, but a lot of times I sound like an idiot. But you can remove crosstalk, I think, add music, other audio. Like this is the most popular one I know of, which is probably why it's the best one.
$24 a month per person.
30 transcription hours. If we're only doing one episode per month, there's no way we hit that.
I thought we were doing
4 episodes a month. 4 episodes a month would be
like
7
I mean,
hours each.
So we could even do the hobbyist if we only want 1080p.
Yeah.
Nah, we
Yeah,
should probably just
creator.
$24 a month. It's not going to break the bank.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
That one's also got a limited use of removing filler words and studio sound. This one's, yeah, it really pushes you towards a creator.
Per person,
Yeah. So we
me
do
and
our
you need to get our
Yeah.
own wine. All right. I'm in for it.
what is Teams? Let's see what Teams looks like. What's Teams pricing? Marketing, learning, development, sales. It's got a lot of the same features, but it's still it's the exact same price. They just call it a different product.
Yeah.
All right, $24 a month. We can do it. Next questions. We're almost done.
So I think it would be cool because I'm going to be traveling a lot. We should actually figure out when we're going to do these episodes.
Okay.
Is it on the weekend? Is it like on a weekday?
You tell me. I'm committed. I'll work
Okay.
around your schedule.
I think that weekends work the best for me, like during the day.
Saturday morning or Sunday morning,
Yeah.
lunchtime.
Morning for me would be like an afternoon for you. I prefer maybe afternoon. And
So, like,
then
12 your time would be ideal. What time would your time approximately?
we're going to do an hour long, probably an hour and a half. So maybe like 10:30 or 11
That
or
works.
like after lunch. If I want to eat lunch with Louise, I don't want to be like around that. But ideally weekends, and we can record independently of when we release, right?
Yeah, that's the ideal because you don't want to just do completely uncut. You want to have some editing, even though this thing is doing a lot of it for us.
Yeah. Maybe we should have a couple episodes where we just riff like this.
Yeah,
Getting-
this is going to be a great first episode. How
Yeah.
we use AI to design this podcast that you're listening to right now. Do you plan on having guests on the show? Yes. If so, how we find and book guests? So is there a
think
Google equivalent of Calendly, or is Calendly just ideal?
there is a Google equivalent of Calendly. I think it's called Appointments. Don't think it's free.
Okay.
So Calendly is probably the best option, but Calendly doesn't really work for me that well, considering that most of my things that are in my calendar are on my work calendar, which is confidential. So
You can't even share the times you're busy?
I can try.
Because I know I have the ability on my calendar to set, I can share it, but only share that the fact if I'm busy or not.
I haven't signed in or signed up with Calendly. It won't let me do that. It'll say it's unauthorized.
Okay.
So if I use my Google,
Do you have a CRM? I have Go High Level, or Jonah Corchin's build out of Go High Level. It's got a Calendly like function in there, and we could build our
I-
website on there and then use that Calendly, the title, whatever Gmail account you want. So I'll work on that.
really what we're going to do is tap into our network.
Tap into our Sub2 network, and then we'll ask our guests to recommend other guests. Those will be the main two sources. And then we'll have reach for the stars guests. We're like, hey, we don't know you, but you're huge in this industry. Do you want to be on the podcast?
I love it. I love it.
What kind of guests would be a good fit? People we know, people with different backgrounds, people who have unique stories, or think they have useful benchmarks or strategies for people. How you promote your podcast and get it out there. Social media, email newsletters, website. I think all of the above. I think if we're doing the website and go high level with the thing, it's also got funnels in there where we can build out a newsletter, and then it's got a website builder in there too. We can build out the website and then just use it as a funnel. Eventually we want to,
You got a website builder and go high level too.
it's got everything, which is why everybody uses it. We can spend an episode going through it. And I have it. I bought it and I paid for it and set it up, and I'm not using it how I need to be using it because of my ADD. I need to hire an integrator who's helping me enter things and just get the process going to where I get a lead. I'm putting it into Go High Level, but I built my website on it. I have forms on there. It's got a Calendly like function. It's got website funnels and newsletters. It's pretty
Let me
robust.
get in there.
No, you're
You
more
get
than
it.
welcome to hop in on my thing. We can build out your website too and share the CRM. The thing I like about it is I've set up the phone numbers already. And the reason I went with Jonah is because he's got his follow-up drip set up, which I'm not using, but he has it set up every 2 weeks. Hey, just poke the different agents on what to do and properties to find. But I would love your help getting that set up and looking at it and coming up with a plan on how to use it better.
Those could be our podcast episodes.
Setting up, I'll show my whole.
Yeah. Let's do that. I set up for like the tech startup that I was at. I set up a CRM. So I love doing that shit.
I would love to body double that and tag team and look at it together. That's a great episode.
Let's do it. Think about the best channels to reach your target audience. How can you engage with them?
Sub2 for one.
Sub2, honestly, just shadow following a bunch of people.
Yeah, I do that all the time.
There's a lot of people that fit our demographic already. So it's like following an existing influencer and target their niche.
I like that. The paid communities we're already in. So Host Camp, we can also do.
Host Camp, Creative Camp, Sub2. I know a bunch of people in other paid communities.
My local communities. So you'll do Bay Area and I'll do Birmingham real estate market.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So this is the summary. So this is at the end. This is the last thing. Oh, wait, no, it's got some more questions, but I think we can push it forward.
I had a couple more questions.
Basically, podcast title, the theme, the target audience, release schedule. We can update this. Update.
I really wish there was a collaborative Gemini.
Type what you want in the chat and I'll type it in. So basically, wherever it says TBD, I'm just going to type in stuff. I use a Dvorak keyboard, by the way. I don't use QWERTY. I use Dvorak
Why do you do that?
because it's more efficient. I type faster because of how it's laid out. My fingers travel a lot less. My hands stay on the home row like 80% of the time, whereas hands are on the home row like 18% of the time in QWERTY. The first typewriters had to spread out the most commonly used letters so it wouldn't jam, but they fixed it with the round 2 of the typewriter, but the format was already set. So people had already learned how to type on QWERTY. It's just like an intentional thing. I was like, oh, it's more efficient. I want to do it and be able to say I did it. Now, when I type my passwords in, I'll type it on a QWERTY keyboard, but it's really a Dvorak word. And so it'll look like gibberish to 99% of people. And then it's just a regular phrase in Dvorak.
I'm mind blown right now.
You
How do
learn
you
it faster than you think. What'd you say?
How do you use other people's computers?
You don't forget how to type on QWERTY. It's like being bilingual. You might have to get your brain thinking QWERTY again, but it's super fast.
That's fair. I feel like I'm left-handed, but most of my stuff I like do on my right hand.
I'm trying to force myself to be ambidextrous. I was supposed to be left-handed. It's bad luck in Asian culture to be left-handed.
Mhm.
And my mom took that seriously. When I would pick stuff up and use my left hand, she would hit me and force me to be right-handed. So
Yeah. My parents
I'm pretty good with my left hand, but
not good enough.
ambidextrous yet. I'll be there.
Recording location, it's dedicated studio space /
Home studio.
home studio.
Source drive our networks. Ask yes for recommendations and invite celebrities.
That's good enough. It'll catch the vibe.
Promotion and we say newsletter.
I think we should do a YouTube video. I think we should basically just have our podcast as YouTube. Yeah.
Especially with the Descript where you can edit out.
Yeah.
It edits the video too.
I think the main source of promotion is going to be TikTok,
Okay.
Instagram, like basically the reels. We got to make reels. Yeah.
It'll say like, here's 5 things from your podcast and then do the B-roll. It does everything.
And we just need to be a little bit edgy.
Yeah.
Maybe.
YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok. Is that it?
What else is there? And then we could just promote it.
So yeah.
Spotify. But when we go to conferences, we should definitely promote it. Once we get honed in on 5 questions or 3 questions, rapid fire questions, we could go to a conference and that's how we engage people.
Just do live interview.
Yeah,
We have road
interviews.
marks and hey, we got 3. You want to be on our podcast? We're going to ask you 3 things. And
Yeah.
like the TikTok street style.
Yeah, exactly.
All right. I like it. Promotion. All right. I'm going to type that. What kind of segments are you considering for your interviews and solo episodes? All right.
So I think you had great ideas, right? What's going on in your business, like things that new things that you learned.
Trolls we're using, standards,
Story time.
a super useful segment would be third-party stories. Story time.
What the third party stories in the context of how Pace tells them?
Story time can be just like, this is a story about how I used real estate to buy something subject to or why I did.
Yeah.
And then somebody else can say, hey, my partners did this. And then I got some good subject to stories.
Yeah. So it could be like Drew's story about my deal or Drew's story about a deal that he sold to someone or found for someone. Or,
Deals, objections, successes, failures.
I think we should try to plan out the roadmap a little bit, like in terms of the guests that we have on, such that it's not super repetitive.
Mm-hmm.
If we're going to ask a sub 2 person, well, like a wholesaler, for example,
Yeah.
don't get another wholesaler, right?
Have some diversity.
Some variety.
All right. Top 10, how to set up different tools, how to create a podcast. Let's see what this is. Now look, he's given us an interview episode structure and then a solo episode structure. Q&A, behind the scenes. So this would be a behind the scenes episode for designing this. This is pretty good. What does the data say for most searched real estate? We could ask Gemini. What are the most searched terms about real estate or real estate investing? Financial metrics and calculations. What are your financial metrics and calculations?
Mm-hmm.
What are your strategies? This is a good question to ask everybody. Like these topics. What are your financial metrics and calculations? What are your financing and investment strategies? What are your ideal property types and markets?
Word of the day.
Yeah.
I used to do word of the day at work.
Nice.
Instruction words of the day. Man,
I used to do keyboard shortcut of the week when I was a teacher.
nice. Oh, we're nerds.
I typed Dvorak. I've accepted it. All right. That's a fantastic idea. Incorporating word of the day segment can add educational value and intrigue to your episodes. Here's a few ways you could integrate it at the beginning of the episode, during the interview, in the what's going on segment. I like during the interview, ask your guest to define the word or use it in a sentence related to their experience. What is cash on cash to you? We're not trying to do a gotcha, but maybe a layman's definition or a working definition, maybe not the exact definition.
Isn't there one definition of a cash on cash?
I mean, for that specific example.
Right.
In the what's going on section, use a word to describe a current event or trend. This shows its practical application as a standalone media post just on our Instagram. That's easy. We can queue up a whole bunch of word of the days and just trickle them out. Keep it concise, provide it clear, make it engaging. Are there any niches or investment strategies you'd like to explore in depth? Or is that kind of fall back into the initial question we answered, which is it'll go everywhere?
I think we're good for now on
Okay.
that.
All right. We have a pretty solid plan.
Yeah. I think we can call it for now. Do we have a transcript? Like we have the video, but we have
If you go sign up for Descript right now, you can upload the video to Descript.
nice.
And then it'll start to transcribe it, cut it down.
But Descript is an actual software that we can record the.
Yeah, we can record it on it, but I'm pretty sure you can also upload to it.
Because I found that the Google Meet is not a great format for
No.
filming. No.
Definitely not. But I'm pretty sure you can just upload it to this. And then you can
Amazing.
also record in here.
I think for $24 a month, that's like a steal.
Yeah.
My main issue, the reason why I don't create content is because I don't
Editing.
like things.
Same. 100%. I hate editing. Even this part, I might hire somebody to do that.
We should just find someone who's better than us at this.
Yeah.
Okay. Sounds good to me, man.
All right, bro. This has been awesome. Good hanging out with you again.
Yeah, dude. I'm looking
so
forward
excited
to
for
it.
this.
Should we start collecting a list of people that we think we should?
Come up with 10 people and I'll come up with 10 people and we'll see who overlaps. And
Okay.
neither of us can choose sub 2 Drew. He'll be our first.
Okay.
All right, bro. Have a great day.